Hey guys, one of the most common things that I hear from people who come to me and want my help improving their English is, I don't have the right words. They just don't come to my mind when I need them. So in this video, I'm going to explain to you what you are probably doing wrong and how you can change your approach to learning new words such that you'll be much better and faster at it. First of all, you shouldn't be learning separate words. If you learn separate words, it's not going to help you to put the words together in a sentence. So you're really complicating your life if you're not learning chunks. What are chunks? These are basically different words that we tend to use together. So for example, when I say, hey, have you been? I don't reconstruct that in my mind every time, and you shouldn't be like, how have you been? That's present perfect. We use it because ABC. There's no need for that. You just learn this entire sentence and you use it when you meet a person after not seeing them for some time. You say, hey, have you been? How have you been? Or the same way you say, you don't learn words like the word photo and then think about, okay, what verb do I need to use with it? Do I take a photo or do I make a photo? Do I take a photo of a person or for a person? That's complicated. Instead, you should just learn to take a photo of something. That means that somebody is in the photo. Or to take the photo for someone. If they ask you, you take a photo of them for them. Or maybe of them and their dog, because dogs are awesome, for them because they asked you. So learning chunks has, there's a lot of reasons why you don't want to use, learn separate words. And these are just the top reasons, right? Then another thing that you're probably doing wrong and you might want to change is, imagine, I'm gonna put a little picture here. So you have the words that you know and you can use comfortably. Like you can probably say hello without really having to reach into your mind for that word. It's pretty readily available. Why? The simple explanation is that you've used it so many times that it's just there now. The longer explanation is that when you learn something, you create connections in your brain, neural connections. Over time, when you practice in many different ways, those connections become stronger. And in the beginning, you sort of need like the middleman to like, you go to your brain and you're like, hey, I need this word or this phrase. And your brain is like, let me find it. Okay, I found it, here it is. And at this point, it's pretty slow, so you need extra time to be able to use that. But over time, those memories, there's this thing called memory consolidation. Over time, you no longer need that middleman. And when you no longer need that middleman, it just becomes automatic. So all of this has happened with the word hello. You've used it so many times, you've heard it so many times, so much time has passed since you started hearing and using that word that you no longer need to think about it. And that's the goal with all the chunks that you learn. So for that, you obviously need to have seen them, have used them, have learned them really properly and have practiced them enough times so you can be comfortably using them without the need for the middleman. So without the extra thinking and be like, So there are a lot of words that you know very well and you can use them easily. You don't need that middleman in your brain. You can produce those words, you're speaking, and they come readily to your mind. Then there are a bunch of words that you know very well. You recognize them when you see them somewhere, like you're watching a video. You hear a word, you're like, oh, I know what that is. Or you're reading something, same thing happens. You recognize it, you know what it means. But when you're speaking, it doesn't come to your mind readily. Then there is the third category of words. So these are words that you don't really understand, but you can sort of, you can figure out what they mean based on the context. And there are words you don't know at all, you've never heard, you've never seen probably, and you can't really figure out what they mean. Now, the thing is, you are probably trying to learn as many new words as you can. And you do need to learn new words. Definitely, that's something you need to do. But in order to be more efficient, in my opinion, what you need to do is to focus on the second category. So you need to make those words that are already in your mind. So you've already created those neural connections, but you want to make them stronger. So you want to practice those words, those chunks. We already know that words, that's not as effective. So you want to practice those chunks more. So you let your brain use them, practice those chunks, and then, memory consolidation happens. Over time, they will become as automatic as the top category. They will basically move into the top category. That's why a lot of people say, look, I understand everything, but why can't I use those words? Well, that's because instead of trying to practice those words, those chunks as much as you can, what you're doing is you're trying to learn more and more and more words. So you're trying to add more words from the third category into the second one. And this is something you need to do, but it's probably more important to dedicate more time to moving the words from the second category into the first one. So to recap, what you want to do is focus on chunks instead of separate words. That will help you in a variety of ways. And the second point, try to focus on making your passive vocabulary more active. In order to do that, you need more exposure to that vocabulary. You need more opportunities to practice it. So instead of investing a lot of your time into this third category of chunks that you sort of recognize but don't really know, instead of learning those, and definitely instead of learning the last category, focus more on working on the words that you recognize but can't quite use. Give yourself opportunities to use them in speaking and in writing. Figure out what they mean. Figure out the meaning and the connotation. So what is the actual meaning? What situations can you use them in? Are they formal or informal? Can anybody say them, or only people of a certain age or like a certain profession use them? So I hope this was useful. This is something that I have to explain to my students like all the time, which is why I thought it might be useful for a lot of people. If it was useful, please let me know in the comments below. I'll really, really appreciate it. If there's anything else, if there are any questions that you have, let me know in the comments below. And I'll see you.